I have a question for you. Where's your top? Where's your top?
Brother, I don't want to advertise the fact that I've still got dope at my house because people will arrive here in the dead of night. That was a rookie mistake there, Schoonraad. That was a rookie mistake.
Too bad, so sad. Yeah, whatever.
I was about to ask what is a typical day in the Kurt Schoonraad household? Does it start with a brandy and coke at 2 in the afternoon?
No. It starts way earlier than that. It starts at about 6 in the morning.
Lekker.
It starts with, it used to be, good morning, how are you? Now it's like, are you here again? What are you doing here?
Bro, there's something about the fact that as comedians, often we are not at home. We are not in our partner's spaces or our kids' spaces as often as what we have been over this past couple of weeks of the lockdown. It's a very different dynamic, eh?
Bro, I don't think the universe is made for us to spend so much time together. Listen, I love spending. You know, I think our kids are going to remember this time forever. It's like, you know, David and Andrew were having a conversation. You know, the time when Mom and Dad were just around all the time.
It's just, he didn't know what he was doing here. He didn't. He was just. He'd wake up. He'd wander around. He'd come and look at your desk. He'd come and ask you questions. What was that about?
No, it's what I do is I hover around his room like I'm like, so what you doing with that table tennis there? It's my board approach. So
the thing is, your guy is a very busy boy. Like he's an outdoorsy kind of guy. He's mountain biking, skateboarding, hoing those things. I mean, is he not? How's he coping?
What you don't know about him, and that most people don't know about him, is that because he was a Waldorf kid most of his life, he wasn't allowed a lot of screen time. You know,
right?
My bro, if you give my lighty a screen, and you come back 3 weeks later, bro, you'll still be there like. So
can I say it might have nothing to do with Waldorf, eh? Because Dave ain't no Waldorf kid, but I don't think Dave's just like I have a conversation. It's madness.
No, he's great with getting off the screen and interacting with people and all of the rest of that. But because most of his life there was no screen time at all. Yeah. So it's for him it's now very special that he's got some screen. You know, he's always confused at first. He's like, what do you mean I can watch another movie?
I think roundabout last week we did start getting that looks like, are you sure? Because now, listen, it feels like school holidays should be done. And so they're like, are you sure we can, oh, that's a look there. You've got a look there. Brother,
let me tell you why I'm wearing the hat, right?
Yeah, go.
Bro, I did the shopping run the other day. And someone walked up to me and went, Mark Lottering. I went, fuck it, I need a haircut.
I will say this, if they are casting for the new episode of Narcos, you in there with a chance, Kurt Schoonraad. You look like you're running a drug cartel.
You know, perhaps I am running a drug cartel.
You just need to hoist so maybe No, okay. You just lost the drug cartel look there, my friend.
No, here's my roadblock look.
Listen, the plus side, if you're holding your mask and you're coughing a lot, they don't ask you to blow.
I don't know, bro. But I'll tell you what, I've had my sense of the police, the fear of the police renewed again. It was like I was at the 80s, in the 80s back in the riots again, because I see the oaks, I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't do anything wrong, I'm still panicking, bro.
But it's madness out there. They've got slightly more power than usual, and they certainly seem to be using it.
Now the problem is like, I don't mind the right people here wielding a little bit of power, isn't it? It's the ones who are not used to that power start tuning you about, and also the rules are not clear.
No.
The rules are not crystal clear. This is not a science just yet. Everyone's still going, okay, you can go and shop.
Yeah.
I think we don't know, bro. So I think a lot of it is just based on your EQ skills. When you arrive at that roadblock and you're like, "Good afternoon, officer, and thanks for looking out for us there. Sorry, how can I help you?" Instead of, "What are you stopping me for? What do you want? I reckon attitude is everything in the same situation.
I think you hit it spot on over there. That impersonation over there. I think I must make a public service video on how to deal with law enforcement officers. You had it spot on there.
No, guy, here's a very simple thing. 99% of the time when you're dealing with law enforcement or any kind of public official, right, 99% of the time, either he or she's got more power than you, or B, you need their help.
Yeah.
But unless you had to bribe someone else's house and he's got no power, you're going, I think you're a bit of a doer these days. But until then, my brother.
Yeah,
meneer. 3 bags full, meneer. And I just so happen to have a couple of samosas spare for you, sir.
Listen, I'm not willing to admit on camera about spare samosas, but I will say a smile will go a long way. If you just smile and acknowledge the person as a person before you give them you ask them to help you with whatever you need help with.
Talking about just a smile, and those big issue vendors at the robots at the waterfront,
Yeah.
We very seldom give them a second KK. But I will never forget, I was humbled in that exercise once there. I did a charity thing with who was it? Sorry for Lander and Cape Talk at the time. And we're gonna do sell some big issue for charity, and it was a chance for us to get out and touch base. Yes. You were there as well, right?
I did one a couple of years later. I actually did one with Fat Joe. Exactly the same situation. I'm well dressed. There's clearly lots of fanfare, and I'm holding a big issue like, "Hey guys, come and sell." I'm not wearing the bib.
People told me to my face, "Hey, fuck off, man. What you doing here? Get out to my side." Then I'm like, "No, I'm a comedian, celebrity. You could give a fuck." You just the sign trying to sell it. You couldn't care less, bro. But now, the point I was trying to make is that seeing somebody else and acknowledging their existence, right, is such a powerful thing, bro.
Yeah.
And this big issue thing is a catalyst in that acknowledging someone else's existence. We see it every day. We walk past it. And for some reason or the other, we've become pretty like the milk of human emotion is run dry with us with a lot of these others.
Depending on the day of the week that they get you, because some days it's been a good morning for whatever reason, and then you're there handing out 20 Rand notes. I don't even take the big issue. Take the 25 Rand. I don't even need the big issue. Skip it. That's fine. Sell it to someone else.
Bro, you are a lot more benevolent than I am. I'm like, I'll tell it, but I will pull off the in 1 year. You give me my 250 change, bro. Come pull off.
I was on the cover of the big issue a couple of weeks ago. My best man, no. You must try to be all cool. So I pull up to the big issue vendor. I'm like, who's this person on the cover? I know who this was is.
Bro, I don't think they remember ever remember a cover of Big Issue. You're selling it every month, all month, my bro.
Can I
You know, although
can I just say this? Seven Gacy is on the current cover, which has to be the worst cover to be on, because I'm not buying anything from a street vendor during lockdown. I don't know what you last touched or when last you used sanitizer. Even if you're holding it over there with I don't care. I want nothing. My windows are up.
talking about the street vendor and compromising positions, right? I was in Sea Point one day, and one of those homeless burgie types, right? I mean, I don't know where he got a TV from, but he clearly caught an episode of whatever the hell I was on, you know. So he comes over and he's like, "Hey, how's it, man? How's it, my boy? How you doing?" So he shakes my hand, my bro. And his hand is wet, bruh. And I'm thinking, please let that be pee. Because it could be a lot of other things worse than pee, bro. So I drove home with my hand out the window.
Listen, I want to ask you about so with the lockdown, what are you obsessed with at the moment?
I'm a very lucky boy, my bro. I got a lot to obsess with, you know what I mean? I've got a vinyl collection that I've been adding onto it for years, and I never really get a good opportunity to sit down and consume all of that fantastic music. And I've been doing that, and we've got a table tennis table out here, and that 10-year-old that's got a lot of energy and beans, and he's putting me through my paces, so I'm keeping relatively fit, all things considered. My missus keeps me on my toes and keeps the schedule going. Oh, she is German, yeah. So we salute in the morning, you know, I get my opinions and then off I go.
Lekker. What is the most useful thing? I mean, because now we can't go out and just buy the essentials. So what is the most strangely useful thing you've at your house at the moment?
Dope, I think, you know. I mean, it's the kind of thing that, you know, it's weird. Eh? I'll have a bottle of whiskey in that cupboard there. It might be there for a year and it doesn't bother me at all. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, and also I own a bar, for crying out loud, you know. So I'm a little over that whole alcohol access thing, you know. Having said that, is when they tune you, listen, they're going to arrest you for driving around with a six-pack. I'll come to stock up a picture. Because, you know, I was like, yes, you know, there's nothing worse than being in a lockdown type of situation and wanting a beer and not having one, you know.
No, for sure. Listen, I have my opinion oscillates about the alcohol and the cigarettes thing, because I know at the end of the day, the hard fact of the matter is, because alcohol is not being sold, there's a lot less pressure on our hospitals. That's a fact. That's a given.
So that is a double-edged sword there. Something like cigarettes, for example, being a previous smoker, you know, I used to smoke for years, bro, and there was nothing worse than being a smoker and being physically kept away from your fix, so to speak. It would drive me mal, you know. And so I empathize, Lang.
No, completely. And I think that's why I say my opinion oscillates, because as soon as they said no cigarettes, I was like, guys, we're about to go into one of the most stressful times we've ever experienced as a species. Like, literally, I mean, this is uncharted territory. It's tensions are high. People are stressed. As an ex-smoker, the one thing I would want right now is that comfort, just to light and just, I mean, it really puts you at ease.
It seems like such a benign thing, but, you know, the cigarette addiction's a fucking hardcore thing, you know. It's a very hectic thing. Having said that, it's like, I don't mind putting cigarettes on that let's not do it for the safety of all the people kind of vibe if you are collecting it from some weird point somewhere. But it's literally an arm stretch away from the essential goods that you are collecting. It makes, I can't see the sense in it, other than just torturing the poor fuckers, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I can add to that, because I would love to cut a tree down. I've got the time to cut down a tree. Now,
the whiteys will have your head for that. Yay! In Constance, you cut down a tree. You got a permit. You got the permit, my bro.
Because there's a lockdown, they're not going to see that the tree is cut down. Now is the time to cut down trees.
Bruh, the whiteys go around and make notes of trees every day. What do you mean they won't notice the trees not cut down? Are you crazy, bruh? It's like pets. They name them.
It's not an endangered one. But the problem is,
The Facebook group is going to go, what happened to Frank? Oh my God. Yeah, your own fault. They're going to sort you out, bruh.
But the thing, okay, not cut it down. I'd like to prune the tree. I'd like to prune the tree. Now, there's a secateurs on sale at Pick n Pay, but I can't buy it because it's got a ribbon across there because you can't buy any gardening stuff. I can buy.
Why aren't they opening Builder's Warehouse, for example? There's so much DIY got to do here. And I'm not endangering anybody.
Yeah.
I can't see the risk. I can't see the risk. If I'm willing to risk life and limb to go to the freaking Pick n Pay to keep a 2-meter social distancing kind of exercise in place, then surely I should be allowed to go to the Builder's Warehouse and do the same thing. But then again, it could, I reckon when it's between two Owens, it's one thing, right? But when two Owens across the universe go, oh, okay, I think I can also go. Eventually, the fallout will be huge. So I reckon also, there's another thing to keep in mind. And, no one has been through this in living memory, So the formula for how things are supposed to run, I don't think has been set yet.
No, it hasn't.
And so there's a lot of second guessing. And I think the motive here is to save as many lives and to flatten that curve and to not overwhelm the healthcare services. Yeah. It makes all the sense in the world. However, yes, I think the old groot crocodile thing is. However,
very good impression.
The economy, the suffering, my bro. I mean, we're losing billions every single day. I mean, I run a business. I don't know how plausible it's going to be to open that business on the other side of this again, I don't know.
Which brings me to a very important thing. I know your business is as one separate entity as a part of our industry. How do you see our industry as a comedy industry changing in light of this thing? I mean, have you thought about where you go to as a performer? What happens to your business? Are you getting a clearer perspective?
What industry, bro? What industry? It doesn't exist anymore. For all intents and purposes, the industry that we remember does not exist anymore. And not in the same way, shape, or form. I don't think it ever will. Which is why I think there will be inevitably, and I know there's going to be a lot of pushback against this, but I think I'd like to believe that I'm well informed to make this. I just think there'll be a big culling system in the comedy industry in the next year. A lot of guys that have gone pro will go back to their 9-to-5 somewhere else in some industry somewhere. I think the original guys, the guys who serve life sentences, I mean, present company included. I mean, I'm a lifer, my bro. If it was like a prison sentence, I would get the chair, my guy. It's over for me, But for a lot of young cats, and they see other opportunities and stuff. For me, it's back to basics. It's about getting back on my personal horse again and but I look forward to that. I recently ran a one-man show that I had a lot of fun with again for the first time in like 5 years. So I'm very keen to get back on stage and just interact with people again and do the old school stuff, man.
What's the first thing you're gonna do when the lockdown ends?
The first thing I'll do most probably is take my dog for a walk in the forest, bro. Just down the road, bro. I can see it from here, but I can't go.
That's
weird.
It's an interesting thing because you're the third person I speak to, and every person doesn't want to do anything other than the simplest of things: go for a drive, sit at the ocean, walk their dog.
This is the hardest part about isolation: is left with yourself, because no matter who you're sharing that isolation with, there are moments when those people just want to be left alone, bro, and you're gonna be left there with your own thoughts. Sometimes it's at 3:00 in the morning, and it's that space is usually consumed with other kind of worries about paying the bills and all kinds of other stuff. But now those thoughts are not there anymore. Or well, they are, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But now you've got to deal with other things. You've got to deal with your own family, and what I've also figured out is that everyone's full of cuck, eh? Everyone's full of shit, including me. I can have moments of like happiness where I'm quite content, and then I just become an edgy doers, you know what I mean? Where pastor songs, and most of the time, it's based on just a little bit of angst because you're not getting what you want when you want it. You know what I mean?
Talk about a little bit of angst, Kurt, but we are in a situation, the most angst-filled situation we've ever been in. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the average person, I mean, listen, if you think about it, we are incarcerated. Our civil liberties have been fucking taken away from us. Now, we understand the reasoning for it because it makes all kinds of sense to save lives and flatten curves and all the rest of that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you are still incarcerated. Your ability to move around and to do as you please is not there anymore. And it's a very stressful thing. And more stressful than I think we gave it credit for at first. But I think the toll is starting to pay now. Some people can, and you know, I can promise you, there are a couple of things will happen during the course of this period, post this period. There'll be a lot of babies born 9 months from now.
Number one, December
There
baby.
will also be a lot of divorces filed.
Yep. At least one baby will be called Coronisha. Isolation September.
Bro, don't give him any ideas, okay? Don't. Someone, you making cut now, someone's like,
that's a good name.
That's a great idea. You know, urban correlation is such a nice name. Yeah. Don't give him any ideas.
Listen, brother, look after yourself, look after the family, stay safe over there. Check in whenever you need.
I'll try my best. You too, man. Say how's to all the tailors for me, and yeah, we'll keep in touch, my bro.
And thanks for joining me.
Okay, that came out all wrong. Okay, it's for the record. I have not joined Stuart in his bed at all. He was in his bed, and I was comfortably at my Blues Brothers home over here.